Hey everybody, it's me, Undead Viking. I'm here with another video review for you today. The game I'm reviewing is called Scrapyard Empire, and that is as close to a illustration of a game box I'm going to be able to give you. This game is going to be in Kickstarter in a matter of hours or days, very, very shortly. It is, by definition, or by the creator's definition, it's from Goliath Games, and they say it is a steampunk deck building game. And I don't really see it as being a deck building so much. I mean, the steampunk part of it is fully visible. The artwork is amazing, and it is all about, the game's all about making crazy inventions like death rays and time machines and things like that. But the theme of the game is that there's this crazy old inventor who's like a multi-billionaire or what have you, and he passes away and he has no heir, and so there's this contest. Whoever can make two of his crazy inventions, these ideas that he had, and make them come into fruition. The first person that can make two of them, and you can make more of them if you want to extend the difficulty of the game, but first person to make two of his inventions wins the game. And so thematically, think of, this is just a card game, there's no board or anything, thematically think of like basically a big giant scrapyard, a big giant junkyard full of all kinds of bells and whistles and clockmakers and robot parts and whatever you can think of. And then all the players kind of are dropped in, and they're scrambling and running around this scrapyard, this Scrapyard Empire, if you will, and they're scrambling to find all these parts so they can build these two inventions. And so, and I'll show more of this obviously when I show you how to play the game. But basically, you have in front of you, you'll have a situation of these different parts that you want to use to build these small machines, and then the small machines will then be in turn used for the inventions. And so the parts, everybody can see. They can see the parts that you have in your little quadrant of the scrapyard, if you will. And people can come and steal those from you, so which kind of stinks, obviously. And but then you're trying to get your parts that you need, and then when you build one of your small machines, and you put your small machines, and thankfully they can't steal those. Once you've built them, they can't, but you keep your small machine cards in your hand, and people can take cards from your hand. They can steal them from your hand, actually. But once you have the small machine parts that you need, then you can turn those in, and you can then replace it with one of your inventions. And then so it just becomes a race as everybody's trying to draw cards, either small machine cards or trying to replace the parts that they have, so they can get all those little things together that'll lead them to build those last two inventions. And it's kind of a neat little pyramid, you know. It's like, as you see, like I said, you have those 8 cards in front of you, and then you have you have up to 5 small machine parts in your hand, and then like at the very end there's 2 inventions. So it's like you build a base, and then this, and then so forth, if you catch my drift. And it's a really fun game because of the fact that, you know, one, the theme is just cool. I like the theme a lot. But it is, as I said, a race. This isn't a game of like, oh, how many resources do I have, or anything like that. This is, you can see everybody else, and you can see them getting closer. It's like when you never know, like when their turn's going to come, where they go, and that's the final part I need, and can build this small machine, and that builds my last invention, and I win the game. And so there's this great feeling of tension, especially after the game's been played 2, 3, 4 rounds around the table, where you start really feeling like the race, the urge to get your stuff done faster than the other people. So, but I'll talk about more of that in my conclusion here in just a few moments. But let me show you exactly how to play. I'll just show you a couple of turns, whatever, and I'll show you the different actions that you can do while you play the game, and then like I said, we'll come back and I'll tell you exactly what I think of Scrapyard Empire. Alright, cool. Okay, this is Scrapyard Empire. These are the 4 decks of cards that you get with the game, and the game comes with a 6-sided die, because there are certain actions when you take, like, saying, stealing from somebody else, that you have to roll the die to be able to be successful. I'll show you what the cards are. This is the small machines cards. These are the cards the small machines will be made so you can build the inventions, which these are the inventions cards. This is the parts cards. You use these. These are like your raw materials that build the small machines, which then in turn build the inventions. And this here is your persona. This is like the different roles people can play. So like here we have Tom Rockefeller, Rockefeller, sorry. You need a little background knowledge there. And what are special abilities? If you roll 4, 5, or 6, after your actions, scrap 1 earned part and draw 1 new. And these are handed out randomly. Here's Penny Valentine, a lovable orphan who lives by her wits, and so on and so forth. Stealing cards from your opponents is successful on a 4, 5, or 6. Normally a 5 or 6 is the only thing that works. So anyway, you hand one of these out to each person before the game randomly, and then whatever isn't used, you can't like swap a person. So like we'll just pick one randomly here, see what we get. We got Captain Minerva, especially when digging for parts. If you roll a 6, you may take 2 cards instead of 1. Digging for parts refers to digging through the scrap pile, which is the discard pile. So here, let's say an airship pirate with incomparable fencing skills, a thirst for blood, and an incredible eye for fashion. She longs for a ship to captain. Alright, so we'll just go ahead, and that's the person we're going to be. There are special abilities, like some of the special abilities will be ones that you can actually use. When you do, you're supposed to turn the card, and you don't get to refresh it until it's back to your turn. Some of the abilities, like this one, are just static, and then they continue on, and you can just use them as you will. So there you go. So place it over there. Inventions. Each person will get 1 invention card. You can draw more. You can only ever have 2 of these in your hand. The inventions are basically like Subterranean Sub. Obviously this is a prototype, so there's no picture here, and there was no picture on Captain Minerva as well. I do apologize for that. I should have said that before. But these are pretty cool cards. Actually, I'll show you some of the pictures here in just a second, but that's an ideal form of transportation, so on and so forth. For those who hate traffic in the light of day, mole people beware. This game has a great sense of humor. But over here, there's these little tiny icons that when I show you the small parts, like the small, those orange cards over there, you'll see those represented over here. But then also you can just see here, transport vessel, combustion engine, and a navigatrix. So those are the 3 things that you need. And so let's see, like here, like the strolling house, so it's like cool. Here's the Death Ray. So like the art is very, I like this one, the Time Machine, just basically because the guy's yelling and running away from the T-Rex. So, and the Dirigible, and it's like so pretty cool. So like, yeah, the artwork is very, very steampunky. So we'll just, like I said, we'll give you one. I wanna build the Death Ray. I'm just gonna pretend I drew that. So the Death Ray, the powerful ray gun can annihilate small countries. It's as standard to supervillainy as the maniacal laugh. So I need a weaponry system, a combustion engine, and a lightning generator to have it. So, alright, but those cards, nobody knows which card I have that I'm trying to build. I also get handed out, and these cards are also kept in your hand. Nobody can see them. You get these cards. These are the small machines. So we'll take 5 of them. We'll check out and see what we got here. And I got a mecha skeleton, and so you can see like there's the picture of the mecha skeleton, like what it represents over here. The 3 different parts that it needs over there. Some this thing right here. Choose an opponent for this turn. You may use their character abilities if it was your own. When you build the small machines, you can actually use. You get a one-time use ability that you can take as an action. Then you'd also turn that, so then it can't be used again for the rest of the game. It doesn't make it so you can't be used though. So like if you do eventually need this small machine to build your invention, you still get to. So just because you use the ability doesn't mean it's like unusable for building. But then the 3 different parts that are needed down here. And so, okay, we got a jet propulsion, okay, another jet propulsion. Hey, combustion engine, that's one of the things we need for our invention. And a lightning generator, also one of the things. That's awesome. So we got 2 of the 3. We're off to a good start. Now, after everybody gets one, you do take one of these cards and turn it over, and we'll just put it up here for right now. And so this is the beginning of the scrapyard, because the scrap pile, you can go for things. So this is a bio monitor, and it's these are the 3 things, and so on and so forth. So we'll just go ahead and put that there. So that is the scrapyard that you'll be able to, if you want to, as your action, dig through. But I'll explain that in just a little bit. And finally, we get 8 parts. Hold on, let me grab 8 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we and place that back there. Now every other player will get 8 cards as well that they'll put in, that they'll have, and these do not stay in our hand. These are common knowledge, and we place them in front of us like so. So I got a propeller, a gearbox, control panel, a control panel. Yeah, that happens a lot. You get a lot of the same parts. Petrol, a gearbox again, a crank, and light bulbs. And so those are the parts that I have in front of me, and those, everybody can see those, and they can see that they have those, and then they maybe sometimes think about, well, what is he going for? What kind of small machines he's going for? If like I'm collecting certain ones, and I'm like trying to protect certain ones, if you will. So, and also after everybody gets one, you take one of these and you put that over there. And we have guns and ammo. We'll go ahead and place that there. And so then, after all is said and done, we'll start our turns. And everybody has their 8 cards in front of them. Everybody has their 5 cards in their hand. And everybody has their one invention that they're going to be working on. Now, on your turn, you can take 2 actions. And so, some of these actions are pretty simple and straightforward. Some of them are just draw actions. You can draw a card from one of these decks and place it in your hand. And so that's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Not very much, but you can do these actions in any order you wish, and you can do multiples of the same action. The other action, you can try to dig through these scrap piles. Now, a lot of times, obviously, as the game's progressed, as you build machines, you're placing things into the scrap pile. Other people will be discarding things in the scrap pile, so the scrap pile will be a lot bigger than just one card. And as a matter of fact, for the sake of explaining how this works, I'm just going to go ahead and put like all of these cards like that into the scrap pile. So on your turn, you can say, as one of your actions, I'm going to dig through the scrap pile. And you can dig through the scrap pile on either of these decks. It doesn't matter which one. And you can say, I'm going to go ahead and dig through that, and you roll a die to see if you're successful. So when you roll the die, you have to get a 5 or a 6 to be successful. So let's just roll a die and see if I get lucky here. I got a 3, so I did not get successful. But all is not lost. You can discard parts into the discard pile for the purpose of, and then when you do that, you then can raise your die roll by 1 for each part that you discarded. Okay, so if we look at this, I need a weaponry system, a combustion, and a lightning generator. So let's go ahead and look at my combustion engine and my lightning generator. I need a propeller and a piston and petrol. So I got a petrol and this. I don't have a piston yet. And my lightning generator, I need bulbs, which I have, metal casing I don't have, and a crank. So I do have this. So this is pretty good. I've got these 4. Well, I don't need probably these 2 repeats, this gearbox and this control panel. So I can go ahead and discard those like so. And I can put them in, and now I can go ahead and I can say, okay, well, that increases it by 2 to a 5, and I can go through this deck. And when you go through the deck, the process that you do it is that you take the top card, and everybody gets to watch you do this. You take the top card, and it isn't like you go through the whole thing and pick one. You take the top card and you say, okay, well, and you do put your cards down on there first, like so. And so you go like that. No, I don't need a crank. I'm looking for, well, metal casing, I'm looking for that. With my crank and bulbs, I'll be able to make my lightning generator. So then I'll go, okay, I'm going to take this. I dug through that. I'm going to take it, and I'm going to put it with my parts, and then we'll spot there. And then you take the rest of the deck, and you put it over the top of the cards that you put off to the side. And so now everybody knows that, I was looking for metal casing, obviously, and they know, if they can remember, those cards that are underneath all the way down there that I put below. And so you got to make sure you do it. It isn't like you reshuffle the deck or anything like that. You do it in that order. So that's another action that you can take. Another action you can take is just flat out stealing from somebody. I don't have another person set up. Same deal. You roll a die on a 5 or a 6. A 1, that's not a very good roll. But on a 1, on a 5 or a 6, you just get to take a part from their hand. You can also, or from in front of them. Also, if somebody had succeeded in stealing from me, they could take, they can go ahead with my cards. I hold them all like this. They get to take 2 of them. They look and see which one. I'd laugh if they got 2 jet propulsions. And they take one, they keep one, and they hand me back the other. And so You can also take obviously that's kind of more it's blind. You don't get to actually see the things, unlike with the parts that you see right there. You can also initiate a trade with somebody. That's just really simple. You just say, hey, I'll trade you my control panel. Like, let's say, like we got that other we have what we need for our lightning generator now, but we do not have the piston. So like, let's, if somebody across the table had the piston, I could say, you know what, hey, I'll give you my control panel for your piston. And they can either agree to the trade or they can counter offer once to try to get me, like, say, well, no, I don't really want the control panel, but I really could use that gearbox you have. And then I can say, oh, okay, well, then I could trade that. And you can't just go back and forth and offer, like, it's like, oh, how about this, how about this, how about this, how about this. If you don't actually do the trade, it doesn't count as one of your actions. So just so you know that. Say, like, if I had this lightning generator built, like the special ability, you may draw 4 new cards, choose either from the parts of the small machine pile. Like, if I had that built, you turn that, as I said before, to show that you've done the action, and then that's an action. So it's one of your 2 actions that you take. So now after you've done your 2 actions, you then move into the build phase. And with the build phase, you can build as much as you want as long as you have the parts to do it. And so it doesn't take actions or whatever. So like, if I had gotten a piston that turn, I could build like 2 of these. And if like somehow I had like, if I had like both if I had my weaponry system also built, I could also, like, if I could build all 3 of them, then I could build my invention as well. But so what I'll do is, since I have the 3 parts that I need for my lighting generator, I have a crank, I have a metal casing, and I have my light bulbs. I take these 3 and I put them in the discard pile like so. And then I go ahead and put my lightning generator down, and I've built a small machine. Once the small machine gets out of my hand, it can't be stolen. You can steal parts that are in front of people, but you can't steal a lightning generator that's in front of somebody, and you can't take an invention that's in front of somebody that's been built either. So once it's there, it's kind of like, whew, now I'm safe, and I don't have that. At this point, you've finished with your turn. The person to your left then goes, and like I should have mentioned that for the first player, you roll a die, or however you want to figure out who the first player is. But you finish your turn, the person to your left goes, they do the exact same things, the next person goes, and so on and so forth till it gets back to you, and then you just keep going through this process until somebody finally builds 2 inventions. If you play with if you play with less people, you can say it's more inventions. You can choose however many inventions you want it to be. Obviously, the more inventions you pick for the victory condition, the longer the game will be, and they increase the difficulty of actually, because like the parts and stuff will become more scarce, and people will be fighting over them a little bit more. If there's one other wrinkle, I forgot about this. If you ever have, there's one character that allows you to have more cards in your hand. It's a special ability. I forget the name. But if you have more than 8 parts or more than 5 small machines at the end of your turn, you do have to discard those and get rid of those. And so then you move, and then you go on with the next turn after that. But there you go. That is exactly how you play Scrapyard Empire. The game is really quick and easy to learn. It's really fast to play, but it's very engaging, very interactive, and a lot of fun. But I'll tell you more about that in my conclusion. I realized I didn't even mention in the intro that this is a card game that actually uses dice, which is something I love. I love dice. I love dice so much. But regardless, so there you go. That's the ins and outs of Scrapyard Empire, how you play. As you can tell, there are some little twists and turns and nooks and crannies you will be playing. I mean, the biggest thing is that draw phase of trying to get the right stuff into your hands. And I found as I played, it was so much, in a lot of ways, it was easier, instead of hoping to get the stuff you need drawing. Obviously, it's just so much easier to look across the table and see what other people have and just snagging that and taking that from them. Even if the chances were, not with you if you had to roll the die to get it. Though, I love the fact that, they sent me the game, and then I played it a few times, and actually, I was actually going to ask them a couple questions, and then they sent me an email, and they said, oh, well, we've tweaked the rules a little bit, and they added in that extra part where you're actually able to discard cards to increase your die roll. And so I actually really liked that part, because it seemed like to me that like the parts, you'd always end up with parts that you never seem to be able to use. You know, it's like, or like, so, but it made those cards, it made those cards, like, the ability, like, to get rid of them, just, like, get rid of them, like, for scrap. And then they actually were able to, like, inherently, like, help, you know, and so, and then instead of just being, sitting out there waiting for somebody to steal them, if you will. So, I really like that part of the game. I mean, regardless of anything, I like card games that are easy to teach. This is definitely one that's easy to teach. I mean, you just explained, the cards themselves just have everything you need right there on them, so it's really easy to, like, just say, okay, well, I know I need this, this, and this for this, and then I need, you know, I mean, for example, like, if your invention card is, like, the strolling house, I mean, it just says right there, you need the transport vessel, the mecha skeleton, and the Combustible Edison. That's a great band. I haven't listened to them in a long time. Combustion engine. And so then, if you manage to get those particular parts, you know, like as I showed, I mean, it's just like, well, that's a navigation. Oh, there you go, combustion engine. Then you just look, and it's like, you know, petrol, propeller, piston, you know, so it's just like, okay, I know. And so everything kind of is so just straightforward and easy to grasp, and it's right there, and people can, like, and then look at those different cards, and plus the pictures and everything on the side, and so the game itself, the rules themselves are just really, really easy to grasp, really, really straightforward. Now, the one thing I probably enjoy the most, I mean, I've played other games, I mean, everybody's played, if you're watching this, most likely you've played some sort of strategy game in the past. And so we've all played games where it's just like, you collect these resources, then you turn them in for these resources, which you then eventually turn them into victory points. In this case, it would be like, you're collecting these resources to get, you know, to be able to build these small little projects that you turn into your invention, you know. And so you have this very, very structured point A, point B, and win. But what I love about this game is, like a lot of those games, it's just there's no interaction. There's nothing going on. It's just, okay, do your turn. Oh, okay, good turn. Okay, now I'll do mine. Oh, I didn't have as good of a turn. Okay, go ahead. And sometimes those games can be fun. It isn't that they're fun because you're kind of competing against these people, but you're also competing against yourself and trying to be sneaky and crafty or whatever. But this game, since you can actually start messing with people and actually start taking stuff from them, and sometimes it's best just to take stuff from them anyway, just because if you don't really have, like, a solid, like, I almost always will steal something from somebody instead of just doing a blind draw. I mean, if I'm like, unless I'm like just like one part away from being able to build something, and I just need to get lucky, you know, and get it. I mean, I will steal something because the chances are I'm going to be taking something out of their hand that they want, or I'm going to be taking a part that they need. And so, and that's what I love about the game, is the fact that as people kind of like are doing their little thing, and they're also proud of their little garden they're making, if you will. I always refer to that, you know, it's like you tend your little garden and see how well you do at the end of the game. I love the fact that you can then, you know, step in and just, you know, stomp on their plants and then just take what they need and run, and run off with it. And that's, I'm a big proponent of games that have confrontation between the players, because, you know, I'm all for really well-made games. I'm all for games that have nice interlocking mechanism, whatever. But there's really no comparison for when you're playing a game and then you're actually like competing against like the people, like actually like head-on-head collision confrontation, because of the fact that you're playing against the brains and the wits of those people, and you're not just playing against the game and trying to get those perfect cards that you need to finish off what you're doing. I thoroughly enjoyed the game for a lot of reasons. The theme, the artwork, the rules, but the thing that sold it for me was that level of player interaction. I mean, because of the fact that it's been a long time since I've played a game that allowed me, you know, to just, that is of this genre, if you will, that allowed me to directly manipulate other people's chances to win or lose. So, I thoroughly enjoyed it for all of those reasons. If you like card games, if you like that steampunk world, if you will, if you like something that you can teach somebody in about 5 minutes, I definitely suggest that you check this one out. Go check out the page over on Kickstarter. Check out the page of Board Game Geek, and see if it's something that you want to put some of your hard-earned cash down on, and so that you can get a copy for yourself once it is printed off and published and sent to your home. All right, well, thank you, as always, for watching this video. I appreciate it greatly. If you have any questions or concerns about it, just by all means, just post those, and I'll try to answer those to the best of my ability. And I'm pretty sure that the fine people at Goliant Games will be more than happy to pipe in and tell you if you have any questions and answer anything that I might not be able to answer. So, all right, well, until next time, this was Undead Viking, and I'm wishing you to have one heck of an awesome day. All right, bye-bye now.